He waited all night for his blind date and found a single mom shivering in the snow. Ethan checked his watch for the fifth time that evening. 11:45 p.m. The cozy downtown cafe had long since emptied, the hum of conversation replaced by the occasional scrape of a broom. He had been here since 7, waiting for Claire, his blind date, who, according to the messages, would definitely show up. The snow had started falling hours ago, dusting the sidewalks in quiet white flakes. Ethan had brushed it off at first, thinking nothing of the delay, but as the minutes stretched into hours, the chill crept into his bones. He sighed, rubbing his hands together, the warmth of his coffee fading too quickly. Just as he considered leaving, a small figure appeared at the cafe's frosted window. She was hunched against the cold, clutching a toddler who seemed barely 2, his little cheeks pink from the wind. Her coat was thin, her shoes soaked through. Ethan's first thought was, what is she doing out here? But something in her eyes, an exhaustion so raw, so human, stopped him. Without thinking, he opened the door. "Hey, come inside," he said, his voice louder than usual against the wind. "You're freezing." The woman hesitated. Then slowly, cautiously, she stepped in, brushing snow from her hair. The toddler blinked up at Ethan with wide, curious eyes. I'm sorry," the woman stammered, her voice low. "I didn't know where else to go. It's been a rough night?" Ethan gestured toward a booth. "Sit down. I'll get you something warm." She looked at him, surprised, then nodded. He ordered hot chocolate and a plate of pastries for them. As the steam rose and filled the air with sweet, comforting warmth, he learned her name, Sarah. She was a single mom, stranded after her car broke down on her way home from a late shift. Ethan realized that the blind date he had been waiting for was gone, and yet, the evening had taken a turn he never expected. He hadn't met Claire, but he had met someone who needed kindness more than he had needed romance. Hours passed, but time didn't matter. He listened as Sarah shared stories of sleepless nights, juggling 2 jobs and parenting alone. Ethan offered what little he could: encouragement, a sympathetic ear, and the knowledge that someone cared, if only for a brief moment. By midnight, the snow had stopped. Sarah and her son prepared to leave, and Ethan stepped outside to help them into a cab. The night air was crisp, but his heart was warm. "Thank you," Sarah said, clutching her child. "I don't know why you helped me, but it means more than you know." Ethan smiled. "Sometimes it's not about the plans you make. It's about the people you meet." As the taxi disappeared into the night, Ethan walked home slowly, thinking about how a failed blind date had led him to something far more profound, a reminder of humanity, of the small acts of compassion that can change someone's world. And for the first time that night, he felt a quiet kind of joy, not the kind that comes from finding love instantly, but the kind that comes from realizing that being kind, even unexpectedly, could be the start of something bigger than himself. Ethan returned to his apartment, snow still glittering on the sidewalks, and smiled at the thought that tonight he hadn't just waited for a date. He had witnessed the power of simple, selfless humanity. The next morning, Ethan woke to a quiet apartment and the faint glow of sunlight bouncing off the snow-covered streets. The events of the previous night felt almost surreal, yet the warmth lingered in his chest. He couldn't stop thinking about Sarah and her little boy. Something about their resilience, their quiet courage in the face of hardship, had left a mark on him. He realized that sometimes life's plans are just a backdrop for unexpected connections. A week later, Ethan found himself at the same cafe, the scene of the chance encounter. He had left a note for the manager, asking if a woman named Sarah had stopped by again. To his surprise, the manager smiled knowingly. "She came by yesterday," the manager said. "Looking for you, actually. She wanted to thank you again." Ethan's heart leapt. He didn't know why, but he felt a pull to see her, to offer even a small measure of support. He stepped outside, the winter air biting at his cheeks, scanning the street for any sign of her. Then he saw her, Sarah, walking hand in hand with her little boy, bundled in a warm coat, their breath visible in the crisp morning air. Their eyes met, and she waved shyly. Ethan waved back, feeling a rush of something he hadn't anticipated. Hope. "Hey," he called as he approached. "Good to see you again." Sarah's face softened into a smile, You too. I wasn't sure I'd run into you again. They walked together slowly, talking about small things. The neighborhood, the little joys of parenting, even the absurdity of blind dates gone wrong. There was no awkwardness, only a quiet, mutual understanding. Over the next few weeks, Ethan made a habit of checking in on Sarah, sometimes helping with errands, sometimes just sharing coffee and conversation. Every encounter reminded him that life wasn't about grand gestures or perfect timing. It was about noticing someone who needed kindness and showing up, even in small ways. One snowy evening, as they laughed over a shared story of a toddler meltdown in a grocery store aisle, Ethan realized he wasn't just enjoying her company, he was inspired by it. And Sarah, seeing his genuine care, began to trust someone again, to believe that not all connections were fleeting. It wasn't a love story written in haste or by coincidence. It was a story of human connection, of being present, of giving without expectation. And in that, they both discovered something rare and beautiful, that compassion has a way of creating its own magic, even on nights when plans fail and life feels uncertain. Ethan walked home that evening with a quiet smile. He hadn't found the blind date he expected, but he had found something far more meaningful, a reminder that the heart grows not from what we seek, but from what we give unreservedly. And somewhere, in the soft snow and warm lights of the city, two lives had shifted gently forever.